We are Rogue Media Sports. Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge. After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort. No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
Mosley, Werder, Doomsday podcast. And as you can see behind us, we are at the practice field, Cowboys training camp, Oxnard, California. And Ed came in. We won't say how we arrived.
We arrived in very different ways to the same destination.
I don't know if you want to actually share yours.
Well, I'm just going to say that I had an opportunity to change my previously arranged schedule on American Airlines, and I was invited by a former Cowboys Super Bowl winning Hall of Famer to fly private out here with him, and I chose that over my executive platinum status, and hoping for an upgrade. I figured I'd just take the sure thing on the upgrade.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I won't reveal who that person was, with the hope that, you know, showing sensitivity to that and not revealing it will allow me similar rewards in the future.
That person,
as compared to your situation, which maybe you should briefly outline.
Yeah, I mean, I flew Southwest. Okay, so we're already a little bit different, but I like Southwest. I like an A. I like being in the A section, like an early bird special. And I arrived at the airport, and I had that sinking feeling that it was time to show my ID, open my wallet where it always is, and it was missing. And so I won't get too far into it, but after a lot of checks, all my clothes were left on, but everything was thrown out of both bags. Thank you, Southwest. Thank you, Dallas Love Field, whoever's in charge of that. They let me on that flight. But let me just tell you, when you arrive at the airport and you get on a flight without your ID, well, every other part of your...
I'm sure most people do that.
Every other part of your trip is impacted. And that is how I could not rent a car and ended up on a strange van that was dropped off at a gas station in Ventura, California. But again, we could go.
I wish I had photos or video of you making that trek with your luggage over the 101 and into our hotel several blocks away. I mean, I would have paid a lot.
By the grace of God, the gas station was literally a 5-minute walk from the hotel. So all is well. We have arrived in very different ways. And Ed, we have a really neat opportunity today. One of the big stories of training camp has obviously been, other than who's holding out, and that's CeeDee Lamb, but Trey Lance. And with Dak's future uncertain, what does that mean for Trey Lance's future? And he's getting ready to have his extremely important game Sunday. This is a big preseason game for him. And I thought we hit the ground running, and we were going to have a conversation with Trey, which I was excited to do.
Yeah, I thought he was outstanding. You know, you remember that this is a player who, despite having very little college experience, was drafted 3rd overall by the San Francisco 49ers, the arch nemesis of the Cowboys. And we all know how highly regarded Kyle Shanahan is in terms of creating offense and developing quarterbacks. And yet, despite all they invested in acquiring that 3rd pick and drafting Trey Lance at that spot, they summarily gave up on him. And the guy who's picked 3rd overall accomplishes nothing in San Francisco, hardly ever plays, before being traded to the Cowboys for, a 4th round pick, which most people think the Cowboys overpaid. And then the 49ers go on to anoint Brock Purdy, who was Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in his draft class, and he now is the heir to the Joe Montana, Steve Young throne, and Trey Lance is here trying to create an opportunity for himself and convince Jerry Jones that, hey, maybe if the Dak Prescott negotiations don't ever get resolved, maybe you do have a viable option on the roster to be the next starting quarterback. I mean, he's got a long way to go to prove that, but I'm sure that's what Jerry's hoping for in all this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought he had some amazing insights into his relationship with Dak, how he views his situation here in Dallas, and all he's been through.
So, without further ado, the Doomsday Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. Here is our interview with Trey Lance. Zach, please play the music.
Guest on the Doomsday Podcast. Huge week, start of the preseason games, and Trey Lance is probably going to play more than any other quarterback on the roster. That's the expectation. And to get us started, why don't you get us started on the podcast the same way you do right before the ball snap? Give us a good
cadence. Yeah. Here we go. What he said. Let's do it. Let's ride.
Ed, did that knock your audio off right there?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
We're still good.
You and I are such technological wizards, we can handle all that. So to start with, give us a sense of how you're approaching this first preseason game, which I guess I don't know if you're going to start. You can maybe break that news. But you're certainly going to get more playing time than anybody else in these games. And it starts with the Rams on Sunday.
Yeah, just very excited for it. I don't know what the timeline will be like of my snaps, but yeah, assuming I'll play a lot, excited to play as many snaps as I can possibly get. But yeah, just approaching it like I have every other game, honestly. Obviously different than a regular season game and the game planning and things like that. But yeah, just excited getting as many reps with these guys as I can, and excited to go out there and show what we can do.
When it's been a while since you played, like, how much preparation do you kind of want or require? Because a lot of these preseason games, obviously, you don't try to put everything in and all, but you haven't done this in a while. How much are you wanting to kind of already, be prepared for and be ready to execute?
Yeah, I mean, the most you can do is take everything I can from this practice that we're about to have tomorrow, and as well as just looking back at their preseason games the last few years. Obviously, new D coordinator, but has been in the system. So I guess, like I said, I think Thursday will tell a lot, but yeah, going to go out and attack it. I think that our offense, we have a great plan for whatever they throw at us, and obviously have a ton of confidence in the guys I'm going to be out there with.
What is it you hope to accomplish in these 4 preseason games as far as winning the confidence of the coaching staff, whether that means you're the 2 or you're the 3 or whatever it means for your future here? What is it you hope to show them you can do?
Yeah, just I'm truly going to take it one play at a time. Play well, play with these guys, and obviously winning at the end of the day.
Getting it out of your hand quickly, understanding where your advantages are in the offense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that's all part of running the offense, I guess, is the way I see it. But yeah, just play a game, manage the game well, get the ball out, and obviously, like I said, I got a ton of confidence in these guys, so I'm excited to get these guys the ball and see what they can do with it.
How much confidence do you have in you?
A lot, plenty of it. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I've learned, and Dak's been great about as well. With everything you guys do and all the media and everything like that, it's been great for me to be around Dak and see how he handles it as well. And I think the minute you start to lose confidence in yourself, I think that's when things start to spiral. So I know it comes from, for me, perspective and knowing who I am on and off the field, and I think that's kind of where I get it from.
You mentioned, I'm sorry, one more thing. You mentioned Dak, and he's in a unique situation potentially. He's in the last year's contract right now. We don't know if that's going to change before the season starts or during the season. And some veteran quarterbacks look at it like, hey, it's not my job. My job is to win games. My job not to help develop another quarterback or the next quarterback. Doesn't seem like that's the approach he's taken. How have you benefited from your association with him?
Yeah, no, I've been very fortunate in my career to be in great quarterback rooms with great people as well. And I think, that situation with us being in there, me, Coop, and Dak, all of us, just being able to collaborate and being able to talk, and me being able to learn as much as I can from him. Specifically, he's played a lot of ball at a really high level for a long time. So for me, it's a great situation to be in, to continue to learn as much as I can. And I think the way he is and the way you see him and our team sees him, I think it's just as much about the person that he is off the field as it is as him as a football player.
Right. If Ed doesn't mind, I'll ask you one.
guess more than Trey does it.
Yeah, in the last past 11 months you've been here, what have, either on the field or off the field, what's the biggest change in you, or what feels different about your game and your overall approach just since you've been with this organization?
Yeah, I think when I got here, it was all about trying to catch up. I'm trying to do as much as I can to catch up and at least have a chance if something was to happen during the season. But now I feel like I'm in a completely different place. I'm still making mistakes, but my thing is if I don't make same mistakes, 2 days in a row or twice in a row, if I don't make the same mistakes twice, I'm getting better. So for me, it's just continuing to learn and just trusting, in the journey in that process. Like there's going to be mistakes that happen, but like we talked about, the confidence of it never changes. And as well as I think the biggest thing for me has been getting to know the guys, whether it's the coaches and my teammates. That's been a huge part of it for me.
How much do you feed off the competition? Seems like y'all quarterbacks have a great relationship, but the way you kind of move up in this thing is become the backup. Obviously, that's the next. What's been your approach to that?
Yeah, I think my mindset is I got to get myself better. I don't worry about if I'm watching what Coop and Dak are doing every single rep and trying to, we all play the game and see the game just a little bit differently. Obviously, we want to operate the offense at a high level, but I think the minute that you're looking at the next guy, my mindset is I got to get myself better. If I'm getting better every single day, I'm going to put myself in a successful spot.
One of the things that compelled Jerry and Steven to hire Mike as a coach is they felt like he could develop quarterbacks. That his history has shown himself capable of that. With he's coached Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. He'll even tell you Joe Montana. Although he says Joe Montana coached him back when the beginning of his career in Kansas City. But he does place a special emphasis on the quarterback position and developing those players through his quarterback school. In what ways have you most benefited from that?
Yeah, I think it's just the extra reps. Even if it's not running the play live against a defense, him being able to communicate and talk through the reps as well as, scouting and shotting. For me, it's been, monumental, I think, just in getting extra reps at different plays, different concepts, different play action, footworks, and things like that.
Take us through some of these young receivers who are, until CD gets here, are getting all kinds of reps and even some first-team reps and all. You've kind of worked with all of them. Who of those guys has kind of stood out to you, and did you even get to work with them in some of this off season and get some of that ingrained, some of the chemistry?
Yeah. It's honestly been tough to name names here because it seems like everyone's had their day or their couple days. T. Billy had a couple big days. Crop had a huge day yesterday. Yes, yeah. Tyron Billy Johnson. Sorry, he'll kill me if I say that.
I need a roster, but yeah.
Yeah, man, it's been fun, and we took a trip to Oregon this year that Dak set up. Got to spend a ton of time out there. Brandon Cooks lives out there in the off season. And I think for me, like talking to Brandon Cooks has been one of the best things. And obviously JT's done a great job. It's really tough for me to go down and name names because I truly feel like everyone's had their day or their couple of days. And even when they're not showing up, catching the ball, they're showing up just doing their job and getting the assist.
How meaningful was that to you to get invited by Dak to participate in that?
It was special. I think it was a really unique thing that we did, and just as much as I got out of the workouts, I think I got out of just getting to know the guys and being able to be around guys and go to dinner and just hang out, things like that.
Seeing you in those videos from camp, now we're here, we'll focus in, but when you take off and show that athleticism, that's got to be a lot of fun to do that. Do you anticipate this season, as you have way more familiarity with the offense, being more involved in maybe even packages along those lines where you can get out in the open field and use that athleticism?
Yeah, that's out of my control there. I want to do whatever I can do to help the team. That's my mindset on it. If there is a package or something that goes in, great. If not, that's what the coaches think is best for the team. So that's out of my hands. I'm gonna let you talk to
but people
about that
stands out. When people are sharing the videos and all, when something breaks down and you kind of take off.
Yeah, try to use play the game. Like I said, I think we all play the game just a little bit differently. So
was that always second nature for you, or is that something you've developed, like when to go, when not to, all of that? Have you kind of grown in that area?
Yeah, for sure. I think you learn and you see different pictures, but at the same time, it is kind of a feel. You get a feel for it, and you see the Red Sea part, and you have an opportunity to do it, and you go move the chains. But yeah, you definitely. There's definitely been times good and bad, both ways for sure.
When you were drafted 3rd overall by the 49ers, considering all they gave up for you, you probably didn't think you'd be in the situation you're in right now. How have you overcome the disappointment or the lack of opportunities that you've been provided? I think it's remarkable that you're still younger than 2 of the quarterbacks who were drafted in the 1st round this year. Mm-hmm. So I think people see where you are one way when, if you look at it through that kind of prism, then you realize what you're potentially still capable of.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe everything happens for a reason. Whether it's my injury or being traded here, I think I'm here for a reason. I might not know what it is exactly right now, but I know all I can do is control my attitudes, my effort every single day, and try to help the guys around me be better and try to help the team win. So that's truly my mindset on it. I know it sounds cliche and everything, but I truly believe everything happens for a reason. I mean, there's countless things in my life that I never would have got to experience or never would have learned about myself if it wasn't for my injury or being traded or being in the situation that I am right now. So I think that's just part of it. I trust in the plan, and I'm going to keep going.
It must be enormously frustrating, though, to come in with the expectations you did, to finally get a chance to play, and then to almost immediately get injured and watch the next guy, his career take off at your expense.
Yeah, I don't want to say at my expense, but yeah, that was the situation. Backed up junior my rookie year, started 2 games, and then got hurt week 2. So that's just, obviously injuries suck. You go through ups and downs throughout that process, but I had great people around me, whether it's family, my PT Mike, I always shout him out for the day I die, and everyone else I spent time with. I mean, guys have my back, and circle gets a lot smaller during those times, but you also learn a lot about yourself. And Brock's one of my closest friends. I still talk to him today, and yeah, I'm super excited for all the success he's had. Watching him in the Super Bowl was awesome. Excited for him, but yeah, I mean, I'm a competitor. I want to play, everything like that. But like I said, I mean, I can only control what I can control. So if I start worrying about everything else, then that leads to a whole bunch of other problems.
Becomes too complicated.
Yeah, no doubt.
How would you assess your skill set as a quarterback? What are your strengths? What can you do when you're at your best?
Yeah, I think that my legs is one thing that's always going to be the first thing, like you mentioned, that stands out to people. But yeah, I mean, I want to be a leader. I've learned a ton from Dak again in that aspect. I think who he is as a person and how he handles himself is another great thing. So for me, his leadership skills and how he interacts with people has been something that I want to be like when I get in that position. So for me, it's leadership, continuing to grow, and taking it one day at a time.
Have you reached out or talked to any quarterbacks that had to wait 3 or 4 years? I mean, it used to be that way. It used to be, even Aaron had to wait a little bit, and Romo didn't start till his
Jordan
fourth
Love
year.
waited.
Yeah.
Jordan Love waited. Have you kind of touch base with any of those guys to at least kind of think, okay, like some of these guys have been through a similar thing?
Yeah, not like specifically asking them, but I'm friends with a few of those guys. Jordan Love is one of those guys that I'm pretty good friends with. So just being able to talk to him, know the type of person he is, how he saw it, throughout that whole entire process. But for me, like I said, I think everyone's journey is just a little bit different. Everyone's story is unique. No one got here the same exact way. No one's story played out. Like you said, if you would have told me 3 years ago I was going to be here at Dallas Cowboys training camp, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But I think that's just part of it. God works in mysterious ways, and I think that's truly part of the plan. Regardless of we don't know why, I might never know why, I might know why in a week, a month, a year, but it's all part of it.
It may not matter that you ever know why.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, thanks for doing this, and I'm sorry Ed's been so negative with a lot of his questions. But now, do you have to guard against a little bit being almost too amped up in that when you get in there, when you've gone? I mean, have you kind of thought about that? Because it'll be pretty exciting, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely be exciting. I think throughout last year in the preseason I was probably that way. And I think I've learned a lot from that experience last year, coming back from my injury and again playing in the first couple preseason games out in San Francisco. So I'd like to think that I've learned. Like I said, I take it one play at a time and trust these guys that I'm going out there with. Got a ton of confidence in them, and just I'm excited for it.
When we stop the video, if you could show us some of those packages that you might be involved in.
The video may have stopped at the beginning of this interview.
I'll let you guys know
I don't know
poorly
if we got,
do this.
Trey, I don't know if we got any of that. Yeah, we got the audio, we know. But,
Trey, thanks so much for doing this.
Appreciate you guys.
Hope you have a
Thank
great
you guys
couple
so
weeks
much.
here on the field and
Appreciate
enjoy
you.
and take advantage of your opportunity.
it's fun to get to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're excited for you.
Great to meet you
Yeah,
guys.
have a great game.
No doubt.
There was another quarterback who
It's
had
gonna
a
be a
great preseason game against the Rams several years ago, about 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And he wasn't supposed to play either.
He wasn't supposed
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
I know.
And he killed it in that game. And then, the rest is history.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Here we are.
That's right. Then,
Ways, man.
the Doomsday podcast is where it all starts. It's really,
You heard it here first. The Doomsday podcast is where it all starts.
All right, Ed. Man, enjoyed that conversation with Trey Lance, and a couple things that stood out to me. I want to kind of hear your takeaways, but I think we would both agree that Trey does have a presence about him. It's certainly not the hat in hand, just happy to be here. Now, I can't. It's hard to really. You talked about it at the right off the top. When you go through what he has, where bonus baby, give up all these picks, he's supposed to be the next big thing with the 49ers, the face of the organization, and it doesn't work out. Boy, that has to be an extremely humbling thing. But I don't know. It's hard to even account for like what all he's gone through. But I was struck by, first of all, his command, kind of how he carries himself, and then we didn't delve into it too much, but you can tell when you go through something like that, he mentioned your circle gets really small. So all these people who were, oh man, the parade's coming by, let's get with Trey Lance. Well, that parade didn't come to fruition. He gets hurt, never gets his job back, and he gets Wally pipped in a sense. Brock Purdy ends up doing it, and now he's wondering, will I ever have a chance to be a starter? And could that be with the Cowboys? Well, I mean, possibly.
I think it's the first time, and I think this is noteworthy because of the way Dak Prescott has reacted to the presence of Trey Lance, a highly regarded quarterback, in his draft class, who now really is, I think, the first guy you can say, hey, he might be the heir whenever that time comes. I mean, the Cowboys have invested not only a fourth-round pick in him, but they also picked up his fifth-year contract option for $5 million. I think it's the first time, and this is notable, Dak's reaction to the fact that Trey Lance is on this roster, because it's really the first time that the potential next starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys post-Dak, whenever that might be, is on the roster. And he's supposed to compete with Cooper Rush for the number 2 spot. Obviously, it's going to be hard to overcome all that Cooper Rush has done and the faith the coaching staff has in him based on, his few opportunities to start. He's been very successful at 4-1 record as a starting quarterback in the NFL. That means something to Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer and the coaching staff here. But yeah, I think the fact that Dak has embraced him, like a lot of quarterbacks, like Brett Favre got criticized for saying, hey, my job is not to be the guy who's developing my replacement. Mm-hmm. And so he didn't really help Aaron Rodgers.
Same with Tannehill. Yeah, made a similar statement.
He helped Rodgers if Rodgers asked, but of course Rodgers isn't going to ask a lot of questions of Brett Favre. Mm-hmm. He's competing with him. And Favre took it like, hey, my job is to win championships for the Packers. And that's what Dak could have taken that approach here, but hasn't, which says a lot about his character. And maybe it says something about Trey Lance and the way he ingratiates himself in the locker room. But, I mentioned a lot of people have already determined that Lance can't play. Well, he's younger than 2 rookie first-round quarterbacks, Bo Nix and Michael Penix, both taken in the top 12 of this year's draft by Denver and Atlanta. He's younger than both of those players. And, he came into the draft when the 49ers took him, and the criticism was he played at a small school, and he really didn't have extensive playing time, and now he's only thrown, 108 balls in the NFL? So it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do under these circumstances. I watched him out here yesterday. He's been somewhat uneven. I think the Cowboys love his arm talent. They love his skill set. I think the thing he has to demonstrate is some level of consistency, and we haven't seen that. Like just watching yesterday's practice, he had an interception in a red zone drill. and he had a touchdown pass in a red zone drill. He also had a play on a red zone drill where he took the snap, rolled out, and his primary target was wide open in the end zone, and he didn't go to him. And he had a ball that hit Jerry's coaching tower, which reminds me of the Tim Tebow story when John Fox, and his coach Adam Gase is the offensive coordinator, and Tebow throws a ball so wildly that it hits the building way out of bounds.
Yeah.
And Adam Gase, the offensive coordinator, goes up to John Fox and says, "Are we sure he's left-handed?" So we've seen extremes, and I think that's one of the things that Lance has to do is he has to even out his performances and those performances have to be at a consistently high level. But the moderation of the two has been a lot. But Dak says he's seen improvement. McCarthy, who really believes devoutly in this quarterback school that he's created here, and Trey talked about the value of that. They've made a few changes in not only his footwork, but in his throwing motion. So let's see how it all plays out in the games. But I think Jerry Jones is really hoping that Trey Lance performs outstandingly well in this preseason and is a viable quarterback for this franchise, and it could affect the negotiations.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something. I don't know if we'll it's hard to get a lot of answers in the preseason. And to your point, even the receivers that he's throwing to and the people that are picking him off in these practices are like second, third string types. And so you're seeing some good, you're seeing some bad. The thing we still know about him, and it was interesting, I was reading something about him and like who he idolized growing up, and then even the more modern day quarterbacks like Watson, Lamar Jackson, guys that can take off and run, and he has that ability. And so I think there are times you totally see why he was taken where he is. But is he going to be able to put it together? Is it going to be with the Cowboys? We don't know, but he's going to have an opportunity. Now, Ed, I did, and that was fun to get to talk to Trey. I want to get our folks ready for kind of in the coming days here. We're taping this on Wednesday. We're going to release this, I believe, Wednesday night. And on Thursday, it will be one of the big reasons we're here and why I'm not going to be gone on my 26th wedding anniversary is the Rams Cowboys joint practice. These things have become, in a lot of ways, bigger than the preseason games because you can really orchestrate things exactly like you want it. The coaches, we've seen skirmishes that break out in that thing. It'll be fun to see McVay and his bunch come in here expecting big crowds tomorrow. So anxious to see that. And then, Ed, you've lined up, and I'll let you discuss this, but major executive with the Cowboys, and I'm very much looking forward to that interview.
Yeah, EVP Stephen Jones confirmed during the media party last night at Nobu, right on the Pacific Ocean. First time I've ever attended that, but he confirmed that he is going to sit in with us, and obviously we'll get the latest on the CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott contract negotiations and where those things stand, and get his evaluation of this roster and all the draft picks that now look like they're going to have to contribute, just how big a loss Sam Williams was, and sort of the new approach that they've taken in terms of an off-season of relative inactivity. And Jerry saying, Dak's had great rosters, and now he's going to have to learn how to win with less. So I think all of that will be a really interesting. And you mentioned the joint practice with the Rams, who, when Jeff Fisher was here, the Cowboys and Rams had huge fights, and ultimately they had to call the whole thing off prematurely. Yeah. I think Mike McCarthy and Sean McVay will caution their players about that, and a very good example for them to point to is the NFL just confirmed today that the Lions and Giants organizations were fined $200,000 for multiple fights and joint practices this week. So McCarthy has and McVay have money on the line here as far as the organization go in expecting a certain level of proper conduct tomorrow.
I feel like the fights involved.
Is that Brian Broaddus?
I think Orlando Scandrick was probably in the middle of that. I don't know.
Wouldn't it be nice if Brian Broaddus could sit down and run through the roster with us at some point?
It might make our other scout, a little uncomfortable.
Fun stretch, Smith?
We've worked together before.
Oh, we'll think about it.
Good to see you
love
guys.
To have you. Thank you,
Enjoy
sir.
these two guys. Watch a lot.
He belongs to my gym now, by the way.
Is that good?
We did.
Is that good?
I saw him on the track recently. Tried to holler at him, but he had his earbuds in. So, yeah, big Rams practice, as we were saying. Yeah, Dez was involved. Helmets came off. There was a lot of stuff that I think this will be a little tamer. There was another joint practice years ago that I was here for, and the Raiders came to town, and that was kind of fun because the Raiders actually used to train here, and so the fans showed up, and they're expecting huge crowds. In fact, Ed, you and I both have a little bit scoffed at this because we don't think we need to be here 6 hours early for a 2 o'clock start. I don't think either one of us
I'm used to
want
being at events 6 hours early, however, but
That's
I don't have to like it.
Yeah, and I may know some back ways. In here. We'll
the guy who forgot his license on his way here is going to navigate the rest of the trip.
FedEx
That's
to me.
Excellent idea.
Hopefully, I'll have that. All right, Ed. It is the Doomsday podcast. Thanks to Rogue Media Network. Ed is great partnering with people who, when we come out here and we need like all this sophisticated equipment. And by the way, while Ed was at Nobu, I literally stayed home figuring out the equipment. It's something that most people would figure out in about 5 minutes, but I was very proud of myself, and I had a breakthrough last night. At about the same time, an earthquake hit. Yes, an earthquake hit 5.7 on the, what do we call that, Richter scale, and it came out of like Bakersfield, I think, or something, and the hotel where I was doing my work last night, it started shaking, the room started shaking, and I had some prayer time. Had some time to kind of get right with the Lord as the earthquake hit. So
but obviously you survived somehow.
I made it. It is another episode of the Doomsday podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. For Zach and Corey and Mike and Ed
And Trey
Lance, I'm Matt Mosley. Good night from Oxnard.
We are Rogue Media Sports. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.